Yesterday on the show, my brother Kwame Dazi says he doesn't agree. Stonebwoy doesn't has no say. In fact, the Grammy article, his rants, is much ado about nothing. He just followed up. In fact, yesterday he followed up with an article on my job.
I had actually written the article before he came to this.
But it wasn't posted, right?
It wasn't published. Yeah.
Okay, well, after his submission on Hitz FM Daybreak Hit, he followed up by posting his article on myjoyonline.com. You guys can go and check it out. He says, Stonebwoy's rant about the Grammy article, much ado about nothing. And whom he has say. That is why Kwame is saying. But then, over here, somebody like myself, DJ Slim. Oh, yes. It's not just myself. In fact, key stakeholders the movers and shakers of Hiplife, they also believe that, once it's a historical piece or a historical article, it needs to be well documented.
You are saying two different things. They are saying Stonebwoy deserves to have been there, or it needs to be well documented.
Because as part of Stonebwoy's rants, he also says
because everybody believes that there are some loopholes in there. Anyway. But not everybody believes Stonebwoy should have been there.
Anyway, let's see if our biggest boss, who is on the line with me, with me.
Yes, my lord. Yes, my lord. Yes, my lord.
Senior ones, good morning.
Good morning, bro. Good morning.
How are you doing?
Good. Woke up strong and nice.
Niceness. and I'm sure with the gift of life right now, you are enjoying every conversation about the music industry, specifically on Hiplife, that is trending and making waves.
Of course. It's interesting. It's interesting to see how deeply people are interested in this whole Hiplife story, and it tells me that we have a chance, to reestablish this if we'll get things properly done, For me, at some point, Hiplife became so strong to the point where two of Africa's most powerful economies accepted Hiplife and, recognized Hiplife to the point where we were being awarded, at Cora. To get on Cora, it was like getting on the African Grammy. And Hiplife artists were prominent on Cora year on, So we've made a few mistakes letting the whole prominence dwindle. But from the interest that this whole thing is generating, I feel like we can really get back to work and place it back where it used to be and even advance it further.
Okay. Well, Ruta, this morning I want to find out. I have very simple questions, two simple questions generally. Right. First one would be your observation. I don't know if you've read the article fully and what you make of it.
To be very honest, I think that it's not anything. It's not anything out of order. It is just everyone making an attempt to be recognized where greatness is being recognized. So for me, it's okay, except that we shouldn't get too overambitious. That's the truth. We shouldn't be too overambitious because at the end of the day, if I say we, I mean the class of 1994 up to like the early 2000s cannot count ourselves to be amongst the greats, when the Nana Mpedus and the J. Adolfos and Opambos were, playing the game. We were not there at the time. Do you get it? And we cannot claim to be part of that phase of history. The phase of our Ghanaian music history where we came in and made ourselves, count was between 1994 up to like 2000. So that's where we belong. Anybody else, anybody who's playing a role in this whole thing has the phase where they entered. And that's where I think they must, if anybody's clamoring for recognition, you need to do that where you came in. Do you get it? So I feel that Honorable Satekla came in I noticed him and started talking about him, Stonebwoy, from 2009. And so from 2009, Hiplife had even, for want of a better word, had taken a nosedive. Hiplife had its time and everything and had fizzled out somehow. Do you get it? So if the story is being told properly, if the story of Hiplife is being told properly, it would not include anybody that came in after 2005.
Okay.
Anybody that came after 2005 would not be recorded, in the story of Hiplife, because it all started from, officially from like 1994 up to like 2005.
Oh, okay.
So anybody that came outside that bracket wouldn't be recognized by the connoisseurs of the music, of the genre.
Okay. Well, with respect to the article, based on your last statement, that means if the story of Hiplife is to be told, or if there's going to be an article documenting the success of Hiplife, then there wouldn't be a need to include a younger generation of artists who, as it is, might want to identify themselves as Hiplife artists. Am I right if I push this direct narrative?
Yes, you will be right. You will be right because you see, and this is my opinion. Okay, so I will say that the younger generation came in to bury Hiplife. Okay, they came in to bury Hiplife, and I'm talking when the Tema group, yes, the Tema group took over. Okay, when the Tema group took over, the likes of Sack, D-Crime, name them. When they took over, that's when Hiplife, got buried. Okay, and let me explain that part. You see, at some point, anyone who's been in this business for a while will agree that at some point, Hiplife became boring. That's the truth. Or that's how I see it, okay? It became boring. So the younger generation who thought they could do something better than what had been left for them decided to give it a different name. Okay, so they started coming up with all kinds of coinages. People mentioned hip-hop, hip-hop, whatever, because they felt a bit uncomfortable associating with it because at that point, it had become, it had become almost like what we are seeing now. Like with this Amapiano thing, anybody goes into the studio, finds a few lines, and repeat those lines, and they put the song out. Mm-hmm. At some point, that is how Hiplife became. Okay, people would just go to Mr. Quay and say, "Oh, this guy, the way this guy in Ting right after Yahoo Ya." Okay,
yeah,
Madfish's hit song. Everybody that was going to JQ wanted something that sounded exactly like Madfish's song. I can't remember the title of the song, but that song was a huge
That's
song.
supposed to be Yahoo Ya.
It was Yahoo Ya. I think he had a name. He had a name. Yeah. Yahoo Ya. Yeah. That song. Big song.
And it had the famous JQ pattern.
It was JQ. That song was done by JQ.
Yeah.
You see, and from when that song blew, prior to that song, there had been many other hits, but that one, in my opinion, came to stamp JQ's authority. Okay? And the whole traffic just got directed to Hash Hash. And that was when you go and meet about 50 artists waiting in a queue to be given the same beat to sing their thing on. And then that's when everybody from high school, they would just go into the studio, pay for time, and then go and sing their school jama on the thing. At some point, it became so monotonous, it became so boring that when the boys from Tema, who thought Tema, they only a guy, time Tema for a guy. So when they felt that this thing we don't want to associate with this, we can do better than this, they decided to just disassociate themselves from Hiplife and create something different. That's when Hiplife started taking that nosedive.
Oh, okay.
Do you get it? And this started, I cannot recollect the exact year, but I can say that this happened around when D-Crime, SAC, and all of those, young people started coming out.
Mm-hmm.
You get Yaosiki and all those people, when they started coming.
That's supposed to be around 2010, 2009, 2010-ish.
There you go.
Yeah.
I will agree with you. So I think that it was around that time that the whole Hiplife revolution kind of settled down. You get it?
Okay.
And then the new era started.
Okay.
So anybody that came after 2010 going should just excuse those that played the game between 1994 up to like 2010.
Okay.
I think that bracket is where the league took place.
Okay. Okay, Ruta, let me ask this question, right? So the article documents 10 essentials to Ghanaian Hiplife, and in that article we can find artists who, according to your narrative, buried the whole Hiplife culture, and that would include Sarkodie, that would include Kim Paluta, that would include artists like Black Sherif, of which his image is even the featured image on the article. Do you feel that the article itself did justice to the cause, with respect to the subject that they attacked?
Not at all. Not at all. But guess what? I was so excited when I saw the article. I was so excited. One, for the fact that Grammy is beginning to pay attention to us. In fact, they've been paying attention to us for a very long time, but this article proved that they really are interested in what we have been doing. Okay? But on the other hand, I was also quite disappointed because there were so many inaccuracies in that article. Okay? But
kindly share some of them with us.
Okay, I wasn't hurt by the fact that it captured all these because you see all these young people who came in after 2010 from let's say 2009 upwards were all great fans of Hiplife because there cannot be any one of them who were not a fan of a Lord Kenya or an Obrafo or a Reggie Rockstone, all of them were like Hiplife fanatics. But they thought that they could do something better than what had become of Hiplife. And so they started inventing something that they thought was going to cut. Unfortunately, that process buried Hiplife. But it doesn't take away the fact that all these people were crazy Hiplife heads.
Okay.
You get it? So, for me, whoever that wrote the article mentioned all these people because he saw all these people, all these names come up during the end times of Hiplife. That's what I'm thinking. But it's great because at the end of the day, Hiplife aside, these are our biggest exports at the moment. The Sacks, the Wallets, the Stones, and these are the people, Blacko, these are the people who are showing us to the world.
Okay.
You get it? But the little mishap is that maybe they should have been mentioned in another article or maybe something that did not really sound the way this article sounded. And to be very honest with you, when I only glanced through the article because I was like, oh, who did this? This is nice, but nah. So I did not, and I haven't really read through the whole piece.
Okay.
Because for me, it will mess my mood up. So I haven't really read through the whole thing. And that's the truth. I just can't through. Okay, I just can't through, and it's because I don't like imperfections. Yes, I don't like imperfections. It has to be done right.
Okay.
It has to be done. But we cannot fault whoever that did that. Because at the end of the day, it's generated some conversation. That's why we're here talking. So it's great, but for me, it tells me that we need to lace our boots and get to work because there's some attention out there for us.
Definitely. Well, you sounded like you're not so happy with the documentation of Hiplife. So if I'm here thinking a document that is on Hiplife should be centered on people within the year that is the 1994 to the early 2000s who actively participated in the proliferation of the music genre, right? Then if there's another article that is talking about the Hiplife and its influences, then we include these artists. Am I right?
You have captured it so perfectly.
Fantastic. So
you have captured it so perfectly.
So would that being said, that means you're not, or you do not agree with Stonebwoy's claim that he should have been mentioned within the context of this article? At all.
I think that Honorable Satekla at the moment, we without a doubt, is our strongest spear. Okay, when it comes to finding a place for Ghana music, at this particular moment, I with all due respect to Blacko and all the young ones who've come and are making the waves, but for me. And I've stopped calling him Stonebwoy. I'm calling him Honorable Satekla because he's at the moment musically he's the greatest Ghanaian music ambassador. But yes, because this man is sending us places where we never thought we'll be. Dude, I'm telling you, the young man is taking us places where we never imagined. See, the guy is living if we have to be honest, he's living the life. Or he actually living the dreams that most of us had and couldn't attain. And he's doing. We're living through him. We're living our dreams through this guy. So we cannot water down his contribution or the role that this guy is playing for us at this moment. But I'm saying that the Hiplife story started from 1994, dwindled in you said 2010. And I remember by 2010, Honorable Satekla had come out.
Yes.
Because I remember recording a song with him in Kewa's studio back in 2010 or 11, I think. And then why did I even want to do a song with him? Because he had already broken out. He had already blown. So he was there. But at that time, I'm not sure he would have called his music Hiplife.
Okay.
Do you get it? At that time, he wouldn't call the music Hiplife because that time, who wanted to have anything to do with Hiplife? I'm being honest. Who wanted to be? To be referred to as Hiplife?
It wasn't trending anymore.
No,
it wasn't cool.
Let me use the word. It had become Yawa.
Why Yawa?
At that time, they are saying no. Yamana only talent be our studio so but we didn't be money. So we all started saying all kinds of things.
Okay.
Some years ago, I made a statement regarding this thing, how Hiplife took the nosedive, and Manopai man can ye. And I said that JQ should be blamed for it, but it was wrong. I think that the whole production unit of Hiplife, so I'm talking about the producers, okay, needed to understand that JQ had come up with something that was indigenous and it was authentically and originally ours. Okay, and so all producers should have around that time worked around what JQ had developed.
Okay,
and push that as the Ghanaian sound, because that would have been so unique. That thing was Pan Logo.
Yes.
That thing was Pan Logo from the Ghan people. So it was ours, original. But because we are always thinking competition, instead of working as a collective, everybody wanted to find a way to kick him out and take the spot. So we were not smart enough. We didn't think as much. And you see, the thing is, until recently, people were working in the music industry who had degrees. We didn't think through the whole as business. Everybody was okay with what they were earning. And if you take the spot, everybody's trying to and that was when producers were like Hitz. You go to appear to the basis of. Now I hit I know a fear. Now JQ a basis of. Now I hit I know a fear. Now some producer biaba. No, now a crank cabana a friend Richie
was yes.
On so PM non so I need you see into we're not really working as a collective. Yeah, who say at that time no, we needed to present something to the world. You see, when you listen to reggae music, they sound almost the same.
Exactly.
They sound almost the same. But what the problem said, we're Jamaican music. But today, there are when you listen to the Hawaiian reggae, the reggae from Trinidad, Tobago, Guyana, when you listen to the reggae artists from those places, some of them sound sweeter than Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
But we attribute the whole thing to Jamaica. And if we had been smart enough to realize that what JQ had given us was something that we could send to the world because it was original to us, and we found a way to promote it, project it, improve, build upon that foundation that JQ introduced. And Kaibia, just as South Africa has created Amapiano and Nigeria for Diafano, maybe would have created something that the world would have been clamoring for by now.
Mm-hmm.
You see, maybe the Ghanaian sound would have been something out there globally that everybody is biting from, and it will be attributed to Ghana. So, in my opinion, that's where we made a mistake.
Okay.
Thinking that was a competition.
It should have been a collective movement
towards a collective movement.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, Rutai, before you take leave of us, we want to know more about how Hiplife started. Who were there when this
thing needs a whole series. A whole series. Until recently, I think I posted a comment on Mr. Dadzi's post on Facebook, and then he said we should do. I think that we need some series.
Okay.
We need some series because a few people have DJ Black no why Bonepa because DJ Rap have some plenty pictures be man maybe son or see on Kai, but DJ Black na they share me on his small iPhone. Because if you have your small iPhone, maybe I don't know, maybe once it was an iPhone, maybe you can find it in your cloud or something. Because I remember some time ago DJ Black returned from Yankee. And he said, come and see, Charlie, make you see something. Showed me hundreds of pictures that he took from DJ Rap. May he so rest in perfect peace. You know, DJ Rap came in 1994, and at the time, because he had been part of the hip hop movement in America, and he knew how it started and everything. So DJ Rap had a repository, you know, on Hiplife, but he's gone, and Roston also has them. Roston also has some great amount of, you know, pictures and videos and things like that. Do you get it? So I'm thinking that I was even saying that as part of the 30th anniversary for Hiplife. We can even have some exhibition where people just donate pictures to be exhibited there. Do you get it? So we need to tell the story and tell it properly. And I think that by his grace, I happened to be there at the time when this whole thing was taking place. I was a young talent trying to find some space within the whole revolution. And I was fortunate enough, I was blessed enough to be a kid from Kutubabi, okay, that I just don't know how it happened, but became one of the boys following Rostone. And fortunately, I sat in the recording sessions of most of the hit songs that Reggie made. Yes, in the studio. I can mention people who came in to back some of the songs and all of that, how the processes and everything. In fact, there's a particular song, Yabanso Visa. Reggie said, I want it like this. So the intro of that song, something I can't remember.
Take it cool.
I think the first line or so, the first few lines, I wrote that and then went back to Takrady because I had gone to take some radio job in Takrady. By the time I came back, Reggie had, changed the whole thing into something, Yabanso Visa. So I happened to be around him, observing how things were going. And, being from Kutubabi, rolling with boys who were this exposed, Reggie had seen it all when it comes to hip-hop music and had come back home. He had so much to share, so much to give. And I was lucky because I happened to be DJ Rap's friend, okay? DJ Rap actually came to live around my neighborhood when he first came to Ghana. And a friend, like one of my playmates, introduced Rap to me. Respect Zakor, respect Pigosh. They linked us up, DJ Rap and myself, because they knew that I was into music. They were not into music. They love music, all right, but I was heavily into music, so they connected me to DJ Rap. And then I became somewhat a tour guide to DJ Rap. So DJ Rap would never go anywhere without me. Fortunately, we had a video camera, like this small camcorder, that, at some point DJ Rap said, capture me, and then I'll capture him, and things like that. And then one night, I took DJ Rap to the Miracle Mirage nightclub, where we used to have Fox FM opposite Strawberry in Adabraka. That used to be Miracle Mirage nightclub. So we were at the club that night when Reggie and Freddie from Stone came in, okay, in the company of a gentleman called Home Base. If anybody happened to be in Kumasi Tech those days, back in the...
I think Queen Saw.
Yeah, there was a gentleman called Home Base. His name actually was Henry. Henry brought Reggie and Freddie to the nightclub that night, and we met and just became friends. But of course, these were the buggers, Dadabis. I was from Kutubabi, just being friends with DJ Rap. So I had to be sitting and be observing all the things that were happening. So I think that if anyone can tell the Hiplife story, I am the one. I am not saying this to blow my own horse or to place myself, but we are just lucky to have someone who was an observer.
Wow.
Do you get it? Wow. I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
I get it.
It's not being boastful. I count myself blessed because I happen to be in that position where, the hardcore boy following the Dada Bees, observing everything that was happening.
Amazing. I think we need to, like you said, we need to have a proper conversation about the Hiplife era and also find a way to document everything that happened during that time. So that next time, then when there's an article or somebody wants to write something about Hiplife, the person will get enough facts to back it.
Yes.
Well, thank you.
We should be looking out for a gentleman by name Yao Nyansapo.
Okay.
Yao Nyansapo is putting up a documentary. He's been working on it for years. He comes to Ghana and goes back to New York, from here to Malata. You get it? Because he's trying to, gather all the material that he needs. So I'm believing, and he's trying to contact everyone. Everyone. He's not leaving anyone out. Yao Nyansapo is contacting everyone Nana Onyansapo. You can look him up on social media and something and follow him. Nana Onyansapo. He's contacting everyone because I personally gave him some names, and he's contacted almost everyone. And he's been working on this thing for in fact, the last time I had a personal interaction, sat with him personally, was 4 years or so ago. And he's still working on that project.
Wow. So
I'm believing that his version will be the most elaborate.
Okay.
I think it will be the most accurate.
Okay. Rutai, thanks a lot for joining us this morning. Very, very insightful conversation. I enjoy every bit of it. But is home? You mentioned home base, right?
Yes, home base.
He used to be a DJ, right?
Yes. Back in Kumasi, he was a tech.
Yes, Queen Soul. I've heard of the name before.
Yes.
Anyway, thanks a lot for joining us, Rutai. We will get back to you. Anytime the conversation of Hiplife pops up, we'll come to the right source and get more information on it. Yeah, that's what I see. Now, who's our mention home base?
Unimho. Unimuno. Oh, your nipa na so base. Okay. I can't home base into me. You say base, but nipa.
But then, I'm sure this morning we're
going to school, eh?
Oh yes. Oh yes. And that will lead me to Kwame Dazi, your firing squad this morning.
Okay.
So as it is, just face the wall.
Okay.
And then get ready to be executed.
I hear, sir.
Exactly what I was trying to say yesterday. That if the article is supposed to capture Hiplife, then there should be people, or at least people who have had their influence from Hiplife in there. So, like I said in 2 of my editorials that is available on my YouTube channel, you guys can check it out on Street is Watching. I said that even when I was having a conversation with Stoneboy, I do not agree with him when he says he should be a part of it if you've not identified as a Hiplife artist. This morning, Rutai is telling us that he also believes that if you were not captured in the golden age of Hiplife, according to him, and he's been there, I mean, since its inception till date, and he documents, or he's telling us about people who played vital role in the genre getting to where it is right now. He believes that if you're not captured in it, I mean, and these years subjected to further review, that is from the 1994 to the golden age, or the demise of it being around the 2009 or 2010-ish. And he believes that the tree pop, or the renaissance that followed after, did what it was supposed to do, that is bury. And I want to ask you,
no, I'm listening.
Okay. Why are you laughing?
I'm happy listening to you.
So with that being said, then it doesn't only take away Blacko, of which we were having a conversation on yesterday. I'll take meat pie for that.
No. I took back those words.
I will take meat pie for that.
Don't worry, I will add more to anything you want.
Thank you very much.
Let's continue.
It doesn't take away just Blacko. It takes away Kimpaluta as well, and also Sarkodie.
Okay.
And now this, I'm sure after we're done with this show, will generate a whole different conversation out there.
Okay.
Is Sarkodie a Hiplife artist?
He is.
Okay. So what would make Kwame Dazi say Sarkodie is a Hiplife artist?
Okay. Thank you very much, DJ Slim. And let me say, I doff my hat off for the legendary Root
Legend.
He was there from the beginning. I've learned my music history from listening to people like him, listening to people who lived the game, and also reading from people who have written about it. I've read several books written on Hiplife and Ghanaian music in general, listened to almost all the people that matter. Even preceding Root I's involvement, there were Jay Gatti and other people who were doing Hiplife. He mentioned how JQ influenced Hiplife with his style of local Ghan music, and he thought that was ours and should have been followed. I beg to differ in certain areas of his submission, because even Talking Drums, when they did their compositions in 1994, which was produced by Panji Anoff, during that time, they had local instrumentation. They sampled songs like Asafo song and did their rap on that. So from there, they were using the local rhythms. Even before Reggie came in with Keep Your Eyes on the Road and all those compositions. So before JQ, some people were doing the Hiplife with local, what is ours, as in local instrumentation. We had Achiame with Masanaba. And that is typical, quote-unquote, high life music with rap on it. So JQ came in with a different flavor, I understand. And I understand the fact that he said during a certain point in time, Hiplife changed. But he said it was buried. I disagree with the word buried. It evolved. Music, Hiplife, just like high life or any other music form, has gone through changes, has gone through what we call evolution. That is why the high life we listened to so many years ago when it started in the 1920s isn't the same high life we listen today. Hiplife is same. I agree. If you want to categorize a certain
sound,
yes, a certain period, let's say from 1994 to 2005 as a certain golden period, I understand. But it doesn't take away from the fact that another generation came to do Hiplife in a different way. So maybe during his time, that period that he mentioned, that was when they were forming the Hiplife sound. They were putting it together. But other people came in with additions, trying to diversify. Because if you ask me, even the whole Hiplife movement that came, it was built on what? Two sounds, hip hop and high life. It was experimentation that led to that. And so you didn't expect that sound to be the same throughout for 30 years. The Sarkodiers and the ELs and the Gurus and the D-Crimes and all the people that came later came with a different vibe. Now, just like hip-hop, which has sub-genres like drill, trap, and all that, we also had ours like Azonto. We have Ghanaian Asaka drill. All these are sub-genres of Hiplife. So, to say it was buried, to me, is a very, very
strong word.
I think it's too negative for us, and it makes us lose hope in something that we've built for a long time. I think what we should say rather is that it has evolved into something else.
I agree.
Because the drill that is being done by the Saka boys are forms of Hiplife from the hip hop culture. But maybe now most of the guys are not claiming the tag Hiplife. Maybe that is why people would think that Hiplife is dead. But in the nomenclature, Hiplife, as was conceived 30 years ago, is still being practiced by Sarkodie and all these people. So I disagree with Rutai on that score when he says it's been buried. What I also think that maybe he actually drifted from the main article's focus is also trying to say that people like Black Sherif and all those who came after don't deserve to have been part of the narrative. I'm telling a story. I'm telling you people that contributed to Hiplife throughout the period. And as a writer, I felt the need to add other people whose influences helped the genre to grow. For example, I might write a story right now about DJ Slim doing a podcast. After maybe the 10th paragraph, maybe my last paragraph, I might say, DJ Slim used to work in Kumasi. He worked with other people like that I mentioned, Portfolio and all these people. It is a style of writing. So you are appreciating other people that maybe rode with you, that influenced what you did in the past. So there is nothing wrong bringing in people that influence the Hiplife genre. Because the Rutai that we know, legendary, in the sense of the word, from the beginning, he was more like a raga artist from the beginning. But he was captured in this article. Okay? So we shouldn't create the impression that if somebody wasn't typical Hiplife personality during that period, he can't be captured. Meanwhile, what we are looking at in this article is the influence of the person. It would not have been a crime if Stonebwoy was mentioned. It wouldn't have been. But the contribution to the Hiplife genre and the culture. Black Sherif, as we speak now, I'm not very sure, even though you've shared screenshots of him saying he's a high life artist. I've heard him say that, and I'm very sure he's trying to pay tribute to the high life genre by doing that. Again, if you listen to how Black Sherif sings, there's something called cadence in melody. It sounds high life, the cadence, but his instrumentation is usually trap and drill. So if it is high life and the drill and the trap is hip hop, is that not Hiplife?
But Hiplife is supposed to be rap on local beat.
You see, so
that's the definition.
So from the beginning.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to.
No, don't go there.
I'm not supposed to.
You don't worry.
I want you to finish.
From the beginning of Hiplife. So that was the confusion that started. There was a dual conception of Hiplife.
Okay.
Even the Reggie that brought it, at a point in time, he was rapping in English over local instrumentation. Keep Your Eyes on the Road was English
Proper English rap.
Then at another point in time, he was rapping in Chi on hip hop instrumentation. So from the beginning, Hiplife had dual conception.
Okay.
Dual, and it's continued for a long time. Even Xdo, Mamba, DMX,
Proper DMX jam. Yeah.
You see, and the instrumentation wasn't local. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't. So the conception for Hiplife from the beginning was dual. Intina Aqua. And if you ask, the other time I interviewed Ibrahim Ohinijain, he told me, so it's gone beyond just the instrumentation and the rap to a culture.
Okay.
Because at a point in time, it became more or less like a community of people with a certain culture. And that is why it might capture Root I and all those people that were not typically rapping.
Yes.
Somebody will say Black Sherif doesn't rap as in spit spoken word.
He traps.
Good. But if you listen to Drake in most of his songs, Drake is a rapper, but most of his songs, what does he do?
He traps.
He sings the rap. And he's considered as what? A hip-hop artist.
Yeah.
So to me, even though, and I said in one of my posts that even though the genre lines are getting blurred nowadays because people are trying to experiment. Obi per se or the reggae be and mix a hip life be or baby. Floating Stone.
Reggae hip hop.
And reggae.
Reggae hip hop.
And reggae beat. How do we call that genre of music? It's not hip life.
No, okay, so
but you see, so what I'm trying to say is that I think if we limit the scope of hip life, we might exclude so many people from it. So it shouldn't be limiting. But the reason Stone Boy, I believe he has no case in this, is because his influence wasn't as great as the people that were captured. Because Black Sherif, he's won Hiplife Hip Hop Artist of the Year in TGMA. The same culture that is called Hiplife Hip Hop took him to BET to win BET Hip Hop Awards. So he represents the culture better than Stone Boy. You get it? So Stone Boy shouldn't be worried about this at all. This is for people in that particular culture who are living the game, who have played their game from the beginning to this time. And to my big boss, Rutai, Hiplife hasn't been buried. It's not been buried. I believe that it's just gone through some evolution because as an art form, every art form needs to grow. People need to experiment with new rhythms. If you don't do that, the genre will die. If you don't try to experiment and add a few things, take certain things out, the genre will die. Because even the reggae, and Rutai would agree with me, even the reggae that we talk about, what was done years ago when reggae was founded, there have been some changes. Even though when you listen to reggae, you know this is reggae, there have been some changes, and there are sub-genres of reggae as we speak now. So we should accept the fact that hip life is still alive, but as every genre, you will not have a particular genre just be on top forever. High life was there, hip life came.
Even with high life, Bugger High Life came.
It's not want to mean transfer,
yeah.
And at a point in time, we had Crank. Richie and all those people were doing, hey, if I would him, all those things came up. Azonto level, all those. So let's accept the fact that music as a form of culture evolves.
Yeah.
What we have not been able to do is to keep on or keep tight the brand even when the evolution is taking place. And because now people are trying. Okay, Ghana Cultural Forum is trying to have UNESCO make a high life intangible heritage. The name will be there forever. Hiplife gradually is getting the attention. People have written about it. People are doing documentaries. It will be there in history. But for us to keep it and make it live on, we don't need to create the impression that it's dead. It's still alive. People are just expressing themselves in different forms of music, and that's it.
Okay, so I to wrap up, I think the guy who wrote the article, Nana Kojo Mula, has done something very, very commendable by starting a conversation. I mean, exactly 30 years since the inception of a music genre such as Hiplife.
Yeah.
And I believe this conversation shouldn't end here. I mean, it should go on for other stakeholders to also document their piece of it. Like what Rutai said earlier on. I believe the evolution, you're talking about evolution, but I believe that the real issue with respect to the transition of Hiplife music from certain times might be as a result of also the stakeholders as at that time not transferring enough education or enough knowledge to the people who took over. The lack of association and unity with respect to artists, the transfer of knowledge, basically. The only person or the only artist who comes in mind who had a smooth transition might be Sarkodie, his transition from Obrafour to Sarkodie, how seamless it felt. And at a certain point in time, Reggie Rockstone also joining the bandwagon, making, Reggie transferred the heat to Obrafour and Obrafour transferred the heat to Sarkodie. It made, apart from the validation that it gave Sark during that process, it's also...
please, are we closed?
We're about to wrap up.
DJ Bredash is tying up his headphones.
I was about to play one song for... But I think that is where basically the issue with respect to Hiplife. So it made just like what is happening these days. I mean the legends. Most of the time they find it. I don't know if it's they or the young ones don't find it cool enough to associate and get the necessary information that is needed.
If you want or if you need the information, you will get to.
I understand, but it's more or less the relationship. Because I'm going through records, international records, and I can see a Lionel Richie featuring Akon. And I can see Slim Buster featuring let me say Slim Buster. Busta Rhymes featuring Coil Ray. And I'm like, how is this thing happening? These are two extreme...
Worlds, they're different generations.
Two extreme generations. And these young ones are reliving, just like what Rutai said, reliving themselves through the sound that was... Because Coil Ray had one big song and it was on a Busta Rhymes instrumentation. And guess what? There's another guy, I think Billie Eilish did Billie Eilish did a rendition of Noriega, Nori's Nothing. And they performed it at the BET. And I'm thinking, when is this thing happening over here? Although I see some of the legends, making conscious effort to engage or get, the new ones or the young ones in there. But we live in a country where, one artist will, gladly give his crown.
Like maybe Reggie Rockstone doing something with Yav Talk.
Yes, gladly give his crown to one artist, and the next moment, the legend is on another platform saying, I was, forced to do that one way.
Crown.
You get where I'm trying to move with this narrative. I think that is what we need to, because if that is done, because they looked up to you guys. You can't tell me for me to just accept it that Sarkodie is not a proud, he's not a proud Reggie Rockstone fan or proud Lord Kenya fan.
They all listened to these greats when they were young.
But why would they not want to associate with a category as big as that? we should look at, first and foremost, the relationship that existed, and also its marketability, and also the purpose that was going to serve.
Very important.
Yes. Because if it wasn't serving its purpose, I'm not sure, somebody would be interested in it, especially when market was so, in fact, the world was so bent on commercializing music, and Ghana, we were getting onto that level, but anyway.
Before we go in, so some people were saying, when Azonto came, the VGMA should have created a category or changed the Hiplife category to Azonto. So that is how we kill what we've grown.
Yes.
Instead of maintaining and making the Azonto a sub-genre, just suddenly people wanted to kill Hiplife and then bring in Azonto. Mm-hmm. So just as you were saying, it's up to us as a people to hold on to what we've created. There are other babies that will come underneath.
Yes.
Let's nurture them gradually. But the moment we see a new thing, we want to kill the older one.
Exactly. So Hiplife at 30, I'm here to plead. I can't throw a challenge to the legend.
Who is organizing something for us?
Yes, but I'm pleading. I'm pleading to the legends.
Are you sure something will happen? Because the last time I interviewed Reggie Rockstone, he didn't sound as though there was anything going to happen.
Okay, I'm not talking about even an event. I'm just pleading that musically, I wish to hear what you said, a collaboration between Reggie Rockstone featuring Yao Talk. I would love to hear Rutai featuring.
Imagine a compilation of some Hiplife artists.
I would love to hear Lord Kenya featuring Kofi Jamal.
Maybe Zap Malay should take up this.
Yes, we should have something going on that would live for the next 30 years. It's like the compilation, the We Are the World compilation. After 50 years, they came out with a newer version. I would love to hear that. Or even for the youngins. I mean, pick a Lord Kenya beat. Do something on it. Hiplife is 30 years.
Good. But seek permission before.
Before they drag you. Anyway, star 281 hash this one. And
yes, how foul dread.
Yes. Why are you cranky? It's not easy. Okay. If you like, you say. If you
I can imagine Kim Paluta on that one.
That would be amazing. we need to encourage that. Better still, we can do a refix and find a way to get away with it. Our winner this morning for our quick cash is here on the line with us. We've not gotten the person yet. By the way, star 281 hash. Our winner is the person with the number 055-46309 -- I can't mention the last two numbers so that you go and call him and say, Charlie, Pekka Krabam, that's not how we do it over here. But let me read some of the messages on our Facebook as we wrap up. Some of the messages on our Facebook.
This is Hitz.